Okay, so let's go back to music. You know, it was enough
Yeah.
about COVID finally, and hopefully it's over now and we can play live
Yeah.
again, stuff like that. So the music scene became alive again, which is just fantastic. So hopefully it will stay like this. So please, let's go to your new EP, Let the World Burn. So why have you decided to do the EP? It's 5 songs, right? So why have you decided this format would be the best?
Well, we were playing with Sacred Reich a couple shows in LA and Mesa, and so Phil and I were hanging out in Mesa, you know, after soundcheck, just talking about, well, you know, should we, you know, I feel like writing some new stuff, and he felt the same, but we didn't want to take on like, you know, 12-song record or, you know, something like that. So it's like, because, you know, we haven't written together in 20 years, something years, so it's like, well, let's do. We actually talked about 4 songs, and then but we got in the studio that year. We played Psycho Fest, you know, and Brian Schlegel was there to see us, and Phil got a chance to talk to him, and that's kind of where that relationship started. But it was kind of like, well, let's go out and do this, and let's take on a goal that we can, you know, that we can attain. So 4 songs we started writing. COVID hit, so we weren't practicing for shows. All we were doing was writing, you know, practicing in the studio writing. And so 4 songs turned into 5. You know, we kind of got on a roll, and yeah, so we're really happy with it.
If some fans still wouldn't hear that, so what they can expect from that EP, you know, is that like similar to your old music or new? I've heard the songs and I like the power, you know, it's very rough and very, you know, aggressive and, you know, brutal. I like it. I like the guitars and the vocals as well. But how would you describe it to some new coming fans?
I would describe it as, it's not your normal, I mean, Vio-lence is not your normal band. I mean, we don't sound like anyone else, and we're always trying to just stay aggressive, and, you know, because the way we think, you know, and we don't, trying to write something that's acceptable is just going to be a failure for us. So it's like, can't do that. Inside our heads is not connected. So, you know, we just go out and we do aggressive, as we write and record and perform as aggressively as we can, you know, as possible. And it's just a different sound. It's not something that you could, it's like, I hearken it to, when I listen to Sirius XM sometimes, it's like, you know, one hardcore band after another. If I'm not paying attention, I think it's like the same band, and it's not, you know. You won't have that with Vio-lence. When Vio-lence comes on, like, that's not normal.
Because many bands now, they start using the same plugins, you know, same guitar sounds, same drum sounds, you know, the snare, the kick, and everything. So yeah, it's very hard nowadays to just you know, how to say, recognize, you know, the bands among each other. Yeah, you're right. And,
you know, Perry, you know, he's constantly doing drum rolls. It's like, you know, so it's he brings that liveliness to the back, you know, to the background there. I mean, we got some good musicians in the band, so.
Okay, and how was that to create and record together after so many years? You know, how was the feeling or the vibe? Was it the same like before, or different, or even better, or how would you describe it?
Well, we, like Eternal Nightmare and Oppressing the Masses, we weren't home when we recorded. You know, we were out in New York with Alex for Oppressing, and we went down to LA, I think to the Music Grinder or something like that, with John Cunaberti, and so then when we did like Nothing to Gain, we were all at home, and, you know, you spend a lot of time at the studio together. But nowadays with the digital era, it's like, you know, Perry went in, he set up all his drums, the guys, Phil went in, did a scratch guitar track for him. He did all his drums. I never even went to the studio because I didn't want to go down there and like be like, oh, maybe you could do this, or oh, maybe you could do that. I'm not even a drummer. It just pissed Perry off because that's what happened.
Okay.
But so, and then when I went and did my vocals, it was just me and, you know, and Juan there, and then Phil would pop in and listen to some stuff, and he'd be there for maybe an hour and take off. And you know, the cool thing about this recording, because I never really liked to record, but this time, you know, I did a few songs, took a couple weeks off, did a couple songs, took a couple weeks off, fixed some stuff, you know. It wasn't like normal where you're in the studio every day grinding through it and, you know, worrying about if your voice is going to hold up. You know,
so you like it more. So you like it more this way, right? You know, that you have time.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool vibe. And then we all came together for, you know, when Juan just kind of threw together a rough mix so we can all listen to it. And, you know, that's when you're kind of looking at each other like, yeah, I like that part. Ooh, yeah. You know, you get the warm fuzzies.
And which one of these 5 songs is your favorite one, if there is anything like that?
I like Upon Their Cross a lot. I like the message in Let the World Burn. You know, but Upon Their Cross has a really cool groove, and it's fun to play live. It gets a good reaction out of the crowd because we played it live a few times. And you know, when you play something new live, a lot of times people stand there and look at you like, because they're listening, you know, they're trying to hear it. But when we play Upon the Cross live, the pit starts up. I mean, just that grinding riff in the beginning, you know, just kind of forces you to move.
Okay. And do you work with your voice anyhow? Have you got some lessons, or you're just, you know, singing because it's quite powerful and rough, you know, and, you know, brutal kind of vocals. So are you taking care of your voice somehow when you're on tour, or what's your
when I'm on tour, for me, it was like when we went out and played and I had to rely on the house monitor system, then it was kind of tough in some clubs. But now I have my ear monitor, so I can hear myself clearly. I can hear the snare drum clearly. And so I don't have to, it's like when you can't hear yourself, you feel like you have to work harder, you know? But when you can hear really clear, it's just like good practice. So it holds up good, you know?
Okay, so no lessons, nothing like that? No, just like la 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 before the show? You're just...
I might, you know, I might do a little bit of that, but not a whole lot, you know? There's certain songs I like to start with because they're good warm-up songs for me. But, yeah, I never had vocal lessons or anything like that. Like when I'm on my way to practice, because I drive an hour and a half to get to practice, you know, I listen to music on my radio and sing along with it, and that warms up my vocal cords really good for when I get to the studio. By the time I get to the studio, but yeah, on tour it's just it's more about just getting pumped up, you know, for me.
Who's your favorite vocalist? You know, do you have any idol in this case?
Tom Araya. I mean,
yeah,
I love Tom Araya. He's just so powerful, and you know, you feel like he's. Yeah, I was reading an article the other day about the Big Four, and I would say the one band of the Big Four that never compromised and was still one of the Big Four was Slayer. You know, they're still heavy. They, you know, from Show No Mercy, you know, to the retirement shows and all that. It's just because that's where I grew. I mean, I remember seeing him in Ruthie's Inn. You know, the scene is like maybe 12 feet. The place is packed and Slayer's playing. And there's nothing better. You know?
Okay.
So Tom Araya is he's the guy.
Cool. And now back to the EP. Or what's the meaning of the lyrics? Is there any like legacy or something you as a band would like to say with this EP? How could you describe it, please?
So some songs, you know, when you're writing songs and you're trying to think of different subjects to write about, you know, you don't want to get like bound up and sounding the same on all the stuff, or saying the same kind of words and whatnot. So, you know, like Let the World Burn, it's one of those things where people, they have all these problems and like the world's going to hell on them. But, you know, it could be worse. The whole world could freaking burn. And, you know, you'd be forgotten about. And you know, like Upon Their Cross, it's one of those kind of things where, you know, they keep putting these events or upon the cross for everyone to go, oh yeah, you know, I'm with that, or I'm against that. You know, it's like like more like you're upon their cross, you're really controlled a lot. You know, that's the kind of the statement is, don't be controlled, you know, by what the governments or the globalists, whoever, put upon the cross for you to, you know, get excited.
Yeah.
And then, you know, Gato Negro is about Edgar Allan Poe's Black Cat. You know, I heard on YouTube there was I forget who the narrator was, but he narrated it and he did a great job. And it was like, man, that's macabre as hell, you know? So, you know, and then I didn't want to call it Black Cat. And Phil's all, well, why Gato Negro? I'm all, because it sounds better than Black Cat. You know, and that's kind of our attitude. I mean, my attitude all the time. But and then Screaming Always is kind of one of those dark, you know, somewhere every moment, somewhere on this planet, someone's screaming, and so that's kind of the subject. It's, you know, that's kind of the basis of Screaming Always. You know, that there's never a moment on the planet where someone's not screaming, whether it's screaming for joy or pain or whatever. But, you know, and then Flesh from Bones, kind of that ancient war, rip you apart and there's no mercy experience. Because, you know, I've watched documentaries a lot. I don't watch TV shows, or I watch movies and documentaries. And, you know, you watch some of these medieval documentaries about battle and you're just like, man, how did they just go into battle like that? You know, getting hacked with swords and chopped with hatchets and smashed with mallets. And, you know,
that was crazy times, right?
Yeah. And it's like, it just intrigues me I love history, you know?
Yeah, and the men were a real man, you know, that's another thing, because nowadays when you see these metrosexual guys with a great hairstyle and, you know, great clothes and stuff like that, and they wouldn't be able to even hold the gun or the sword, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, I watched this one documentary, and they found a battlefield. They found some skeletons, and one of them, like, its jaw was like, they could tell the jaw had been broken and repaired, but not perfectly, and it was from a sword, like, hitting this dude across the face. You know, he's a warrior, and it was an old wound, dated like 6 years before he died on the battlefield. So he, like, had this happen to him and then lived with this and went back into battle, you know.
And still fighting.
Yeah, and still fighting, you know. It's crazy. That kind of stuff is just like, you know,
unbelievable.
That's what human beings are capable of enduring, you know, and you know, putting upon others.
Yeah, right. Okay, so again, let's go back to music. So you're gonna play some live shows, including as well here in Czech Republic. So would you like to say anything to your Czech fans, what they can expect, or, you know, any kind of words?
Well, I'll tell you what, we're really excited to be there, and, you know, we're going to bring some old songs and some new songs and put together a nice set. And you know, we love to play live. It's out of all the things we do, playing live is one of our all of our favorite things, you know. And so when we come out and play live for you guys, it's going to be, we leave everything on the stage, you know. And I'm 57, so I still got enough to leave on the stage where people will be like, wow, that was a great show, you know. And again, people watch the band because the music just drives you. It's like, you can't avoid it. I know when we played the reunion show, I had a friend, Peter Carter. He was back in the early days of Ruthie's Inn and all that. I mean, the dude's like 50. He's jumping from the top of the amp, you know, diving onto the crowd. And when I saw him climb up there, I was like, oh man, I don't even want to watch this, dude. And he said the next day he was bruised all the way down the side. And so that's what Vio-lence music will do to you.
Okay, I think this is a great, you know, advertisement for the band, you know, like people who do this kind of stuff. Okay, so please, my last question, because we're gonna do this, or we are doing this interview for Backstage TV and TV Rebel. So could you say something to the people who are gonna watch this interview, like some, hi, I'm, you know, the name from the band, blah, blah, and, you know, some kind of stuff for Backstage TV and TV Rebel fans?
Yeah. Hey, this is Sean Killian from Vio-lence. Can't wait to see everybody in the Czech Republic at the Brutal Assault Fest. Keep an eye, watch Backstage TV and TV Rebel. And we will see you in August. Pedal up your ass.
Brilliant ending, man. So thank you so much. Thank you so much for the interview. I know it's the morning there. It was kind of crazy for me because I have to, you know, count, you know, what's the time in your place and here in my place. So I'm the worst person in this kind of, you know, counting the time differences. So yeah, thank you. I'm so glad that we met here. And
thank you.
Fingers crossed for the tour, for the show, for the next albums maybe, and hopefully we'll see each other here when you're playing Brutal Out, right?
That'd be great. Definitely.
Okay, man. So cheers. Thank you. Right. Stay healthy, take care, and see you soon, hopefully. All right. So bye-bye.
Bye-bye.